I can't, but he can, so I think I'll let him. That's one of the sayings I learned in AA. The first 2 steps of AA, realizing that I'm powerless. And the second step came to believe that a power higher than myself could restore me to sanity. So that's how all this ties together. I'm insane, and an insane person can't fix themselves. So it's the reliance on God helps restore us to sanity. That all these years of my life that I was doing things, and whether it's addiction, spiritual stuff, emotional stuff, I was always trying to gauge how I should fix myself. And it took me 40 years to realize that was the problem. And that these 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous taught me how to let go of my self-will and learn how to rely on God. And that's a pretty big deal, because when you have a life full of self-will, my experience has shown that it's not a very good life at all. And that once we start learning how to rely on God, that things start to change. The tone of our heart changes. Because I've done good things to help people, but my motives behind what I was doing weren't good. I've had resentments against people in situations that I played a role in. As a matter of fact, every situation on every resentment, I played a role in it. And identifying that and letting go of it. I read a book called The Bait of Satan, and it talked directly about resentment separates you from God. So the goal for me on a daily basis is to stay as close to God as I can. And that's easier said than done. For me, it's hard. I have to make a conscious effort to remember God. That's why I have these routines. That's why I pray first thing in the morning. But midday when I'm at work, I go back to self-will. Self-will run riot. And then these thoughts creep into my head. Old behaviors start to crop up. And so I have to do things to remind me that God's got this. That I don't need to figure it out. That my goal is to do the next right thing. And to allow God to guide the day. That's why I live one day at a time. Because if I try to have God manage, my past, well, that's in the past. There's nothing you can do about it. And the future is, I don't even know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. So I don't want to miss the opportunities in the moment, because the only thing that truly exists is right now. So what I was talking about 2 minutes ago, that's long gone. That's history. So part of the battle is to stay out of self-will. And what I do is I set up things throughout my day to remind me of God. So, I pray in the morning like I talked about earlier. I have a little Bible study that I try to do daily. I'm not always successful. I have this theory I've talked about before. Good stuff in, good stuff out. So I try to listen to music that's supportive to my soul. I try to keep the information going into my mind. But I also, when I get upset or angry or things aren't going my way, I try to take a moment to slow down and be like, okay, God, what would you have me do? And when I do that, life tends to be more successful. The way I interact with those around me tends to be more successful. I tend to cause less harm, and the situations tend to do better. And it's the same thing with worry, that if my mind is spinning and trying to figure things out, I come to a sudden realization that I'm playing God. I'm trying to figure it out. And the Bible talks specifically about surrender. Give it over to Him. A lot of people, that grew up the way I did is, all I heard in church when I was a kid is you're going to hell, right? And at one point in my life when I was younger, I was like, well, if I'm going to hell, I might as well just be driving the bus. And I'm going to tell you right now that did not work out well at all. I burned my life to ground, self-will run riot, addiction, dopamine rushes, and all all this stuff. Anything that could have went wrong, went wrong. He's in the process of restoring me. That conscious contact throughout the day. That if I'm spiritually fit, I am more emotionally fit, and I'm more apt to do the things physically to stay fit. And it's a process. Because most of the times I go to the gym, I'm not super excited about it. Sometimes I'm excited to go on runs, and other times I just want it to be over. But that's the deal, is that all these areas are intertwined with one another. And maintaining that conscious contact throughout the day in my life is essential. Because if I don't do that, my day will fall apart. And when my day falls apart, I'm self-will run riot, and I will hurt those around me and make bad decisions. So the food for thought today is to, if not now, then when? Are we going to stay fixated on God and allow Him to do the work in our lives? Or are we going to try to manage this on our own? And I can tell you with my experience, it never ends well when we do it on our own. So remember, suffer for it.